Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're taking a look at Gaming News Consolidated, June 9th through the 15th. This one is a little later, I just had a little bit of scheduling issues with work, but hey, here it is. And tonight we're going to be talking about Concord. We finally know how much it's going to cost. We're going to talk about Hogwarts Legacy getting a director's cut. We're going to talk about a new remaster for a really old puzzle game, probably for most of you folks that came out in the 90s. I am super excited about that, and I want to pitch something to y'all. And then also, we're going to talk about getting paid to play video games. IKEA is doing a program that I didn't expect. Also, we're going to talk about, of course, showcases. That's going to be Summer Game Fest, Xbox, and Ubisoft, and PlayStation. Just a quick overview of those. We're also going to talk about XDefiant and their first season for the game. We're also going to talk about a remaster from a game over 10 years ago. And then we're also going to talk about some Black Ops 6 stuff. Everything from movement to whether needing an online connection or not, and the file size. All of that is important to cover. We're also going to talk about Life is Strange, double exposure, and a crazy monetization that game is going to have. And then we're also going to talk about Dark and Darker. This is just for PC folks right now, but they've had quite the tumultuous past, and they already have an issue with 4 days after launch. And then lastly, we're going to talk about Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. So, thanks for tuning in. You can always like and sub, all that good stuff. And two, if you enjoy the content, regardless of what it is here on the channel, you can always share that too. And just liking and subbing is something you can do to just help out the channel. It's free, almost none of your time. And, help promote here a little bit. It's tough for small channels like me to get started. But hey, we got over 300 of y'all now. And honestly, I appreciate y'all. And any feedback you can give, awesome. Some of the stuff or things I'd like to improve, I can't necessarily do those things yet, like a camera, for example. But that'll eventually be way into the future. My real focus here on the channel is just to provide you guys value, just like gaming news, just to keep you up on a weekly basis. And we basically look at news for the week, which is hours of videos and articles and stuff, and consolidate it all right here in less than an hour. So let's go ahead and get started. So we got Concord. Okay, this is going to be a Sony game that we saw during Summer Game Fest. Actually, no, excuse me, during the Sony PlayStation Showcase State of Play at the end of May. And this is going to be a 5v5, just like Overwatch, right? This is going to be a hero shooter, and this is going to be $40. And so already there's other options out there that are free. And so good luck, Sony. I don't really think you're going to make a ton of money. And I was honestly pretty excited about Concord because it had this kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy alternative style to it and stuff. And I was like, hey man, this is actually kind of starting to look good. And then when one of the developers or directors said, oh yeah, it's going to be a 5v5, I was like, oh no. He didn't even have to finish his sentence. I was already just checked out. And I was like, yep, this sucks. I was hoping more. It's going to be a story-driven game. Kind of like we're going to see the development of these characters, and that's just not what we got, unfortunately. And, I thought it was pretty funny that Sony actually had one of their biggest rivals to this game in their own showcase, which is Marvel Rivals. And that one's going to be free. We also got Overwatch 2, which is also free. We also got XDefiant right now, which is kind of the same take, except it's 6v6. That's free as well. And there's just other free options. I mean, even Fortnite, if you wanted your Battle Royale, you got Apex as well, and also Warzone. And here, Sony's Concord is going to be a $40 price tag just to get started. And I highly doubt the monetization is going to be toned down because of that price tag. I'm pretty sure their monetization is going to be pretty insane, just like all of the others, as if it's free. Plus, two, it's a brand new game. You got to get started, start building your audience, and pull people away from other games they've already been playing. And so I kind of think Sony is late to the party here. While this is an answer to like the Sony's brand, I think it would have been better off if they had done PlayStation All-Stars and just brought that back. Just like what Multiverse did with Warner Brothers. PlayStation All-Stars, I think, was PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4. Wasn't too long ago, but like you could be Kratos, you could be Metal Gear Solid, you could be, God of War. You could be Twisted Metal. Like all of their IPs under their umbrella. There were quite a few. You could be the characters, and basically it was like an alternative Super Smash, and it was actually pretty fun, and was a pretty well supported game. But again, we just haven't had it since, and I think that would have gone over a lot better than Concord. What do you guys think? Were you guys excited for it? Next, we're going to talk about Hogwarts Legacy. They're getting a director's cut, so we don't know exactly what this means. We currently don't have a new release date, but we do know that it's being done by Rocksteady. Now, they were the ones that did Suicide Squad, and if they're already working on peeling off some of the team to work on another game, well, we know that Suicide Squad really isn't doing that well. They've basically completed Part 1 and Part 2 of their first season with the Joker. We know we're going to get another character. And boy, I just don't really think it's going to go over very good, unfortunately. The game has already been a joke. It just hasn't been what we expected. And there's been some other things, too, with the game, being turned into a live service. And there's been some stuff worked with this that now have people worried about 100-star. And so, 100-star, the lead at Rocksteady basically left the company. He was one of the co-founders there. Left the company and started 100-star even before Suicide Squad to Kill the Justice League came out. Which kind of sucks because, normally you don't abandon your ship when it's sinking. But a lot of other people had already also left the project. So some of those people also went over to 100-star as well, which their idea is to be an independent, no big umbrella company and focus on making AAA games. I'm curious what their first game's going to be. But we know, too, that part of the issue is like the CEO that left, he also had his hands in the issues with the game. Now, there is more that we could talk about this, and I think I will coming up when 100-star has their first game coming out, which is going to be a while, but that's the plan. But ultimately, I don't think it's entirely his fault either, because they had their plans for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, or to make it an entirely different game on top of that, and Warner Brothers had folks come over with multiple presentations, according to an article, and a well-known journalist, I forget his name. It's Paul Tassi, I think. I think that's the name. I should have written it down. But basically, the Warner Brothers guys had all of their presentations and said, look, this is the trend. This is all of the money that these other games are making. Of course, this would have been probably during COVID or right before. And so big cash influx, and now, well, the economy's changing. We have a ton of live service games that are pretty much the same, and Suicide Squad just didn't come out very well. I kind of wonder if there's a little bit of, like, self-destruction there, maybe, purposefully with some issues. But I think, too, that if people knew that it was really the co-founders' fault, both of them, by the way, I don't think they would have gone with him to 100-star. So again, we don't know internally exactly what all was going on and what the climate was like or the atmosphere or whatever. But I don't think we should write 100-star off just yet. Because again, these are the guys that came up and designed and built the single-player Batman Arkham Knight series, which is well-renowned. And you can actually get some of those on Game Pass. And, we should remember that. We should remember like what their pedigree is, and while they have one bad game that, yes, did not go very well, we shouldn't write them off yet. So I'll keep you guys tuned with 100-star as more news comes out about their next game. But Rocksteady, with what's left of them, they're working on the director's cut, and that will have more details also to follow. But I'm sure they're wanting to, take one of their big ones, Hogwarts Legacy, and recoup some of those losses that they got, because they had a little over 200 million losses with Suicide Squad. That wasn't the total of what it cost. That's just how much money that they lost with not breaking even. So that's pretty insane. Next, we're going to get a new puzzle remaster. So for those of you that know the Myst series, M-Y-S-T, okay, that was basically in the 90s, early 90s. And I'm so excited. I love this series. There's been quite a few games with that. And the sequel to Myst was Riven. Now, Riven is getting a remaster, and I am very excited about this. I played that game for about a year and a half and finally beat it. Holy frick, folks. This was before YouTube, before Facebook, before all of that stuff, and I busted my brain to beat that game, and when I finally beat it, man, what a sense of satisfaction and achievement. And for it to get a remaster would be awesome. This game is literally coming out in 10 days. This is going to be June 25th out on Steam. You guys can pick it up. And it is only going to be for PC as far as I know. If they get good sales, maybe they'll bring it later to console, but we'll have to see. The company, Cheyenne, has been around for a long time, and they've been making these type of games. And they are a small studio, definitely. We would probably consider them indie today with their budgets, or, probably like AA, but they had an amazing game, Uru, which had multiple expansions in the 2000s, and it was just like, frick yeah, dude, that game was so good. But would you guys be interested? I know there's probably not a lot of puzzle people out there on this channel, but for those of you that would be interested, or maybe you know somebody, would you guys be interested in working through the games with me on live stream on Twitch? Because I think that would be fun. I'm not going to figure everything out. I'm also not going to remember everything. And I think it would be a fun way to kind of build some community to have another game with more engagement. I think that would be fun. And with it not being a super action-packed game, I'd be able to keep up with chat a heck of a lot better than playing like XDefiant or COD, right? Or Ghost Recon Wildlands as I'm trying to survive. This will be a puzzle game, but I will need your guys' help. So let me know in the comments if you guys would actually be interested in that, or actually send me a whisper too on Twitch if you'd like it. Don't tread on the E to let me know that you'd be interested. And if I have enough interest, I'll try to set up a period of time, during the week or on the weekends or something where I play, and you guys can hopefully hop on with me and help me beat these games. I think it'd be great. I'd like to go through Myst, Riven, Exile, Uru, Revelations, and The Last Age. Like I said, there's a lot of games to go through, and it'd be a blast to go through those. I will go through them anyway. If there is no one that's interested, I'll just play them myself. But if there's enough of you, hey, let me know, please. Take some initiative and engagement there, and let me know in the comments. Let's see. So getting paid to play video games. We've all heard these before, and usually they're not perfect. And even quality testers, they seem to get let go first when there's issues in the gaming market. But IKEA is opening a store in Roblox, and they're going to pay £13 an hour to serve digital meatballs. I'm not even kidding. This is a real thing. There's actually a job posting for this, and for you to be a person in a IKEA store in Roblox to serve meatballs to people. I don't really understand the concept. They said in their posting that they want to give job opportunities to young people, end quote, and that is a way to make money. But there's really no utility there, so I'm not really sure exactly what they're selling you. Digital meatballs? Would you guys be interested in digital meatballs? Maybe a pizza or a hot dog? I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. If you live in the UK or in parts of Europe, this is available or open to you. And if you live over there, take some time if you're interested to look on IKEA's website or type it in, search it up, whatever, and see. But yeah, it'd be £13 an hour starting, and basically you could be home and serve digital meatballs when people are there on Roblox. So I don't know. Would you guys be interested in that? Personally, I'd rather do something that's a little more concrete, a little more analog, because job security is a great thing to have. But I just thought that was kind of funny, serving meatballs in a virtual reality game, basically Roblox. It could be virtual reality. I don't think it's there yet, though, right? Hopefully, Roblox 2 will make money someday. They still haven't made a single dime. They keep losing money every year. So let's talk about showcases. This is a quick breakdown. Basically, again, we had Summer Game Fest, Xbox, Ubisoft, and PlayStation. We covered each one of those in the channel. The links will be down in the description of the showcases themselves if you're interested, from the direct sources, and also my personal breakdown of each showcase. So there will be 8 links down there below, along with Discord, not just to chat, mingle, and all that jazz, but also to find others to play with, regardless of game, regardless of platform. So don't forget that. But let's take a look at the showcases here. So PlayStation, we had that first. Honestly, it felt pretty empty. We had Concord, Dragon Ball Z, and a couple of remasters. And that was the showcase. Pretty boring, pretty dull. Not a lot there. Not a lot coming even. A big part of the showcase was also Monster Hunter Wildlands. Wildlands, dude, would be amazing. But yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds. We got to see an extended showcase of that, or extended trailer. But yeah, again, it just PlayStation was kind of a waste of time, unfortunately. And their big banger again, Concord, wasn't very appealing. We also had remasters of Until Dawn and remaster of Silent Hill 2, which I'd be more interested in Silent Hill 2. But again, they're remasters, and I feel like they've been pumping that remaster machine for a while. And we're not having really anything outside of just a few IPs, and it's starting to get kind of dull, folks. We don't have Twisted Metal. We don't have anything about Horizons, and even Lego Horizons, they didn't even have that in their own showcase, which was kind of frustrating. They had that at Summer Game Fest instead. So I even feel like they didn't even invest in their own showcase. So ultimately, I gave PlayStation Showcase a D. There just wasn't much there, and one of the things that could have helped the showcase wasn't even a part of it. It was a part of Summer Game Fest. And that was the next showcase that we had left. Or next, excuse me. And the Summer Game Fest was a lot of indie games, a lot of cinematic trailers, and a lot of games we already knew about. So I wouldn't say it was necessarily exciting. It was better. It had a good pace, a good flow. There wasn't a lot of third-party ads selling machines and DoorDash, and while some of those were there, it wasn't as bad as the Game Awards last year, thank goodness. And it was, again, a pretty good pace. We had a little bit with developers coming out on stage talking about their games or their products. And we had a few DLCs as well, but the majority were actual base games, and the majority were cinematic trailers. And there was a little bit of gameplay in there, which was nice, which we got to see Monster Hunter Wilds again. We also got to see a little bit with like Star Wars Outlaws. So again, there were multiple repeats in there for sure, but there was also a lot of indie games. And some of the games actually did look pretty good. But overall, a lot of the indie games, I play just to bide my time for something else. And maybe you really like indie games. That's perfect. Definitely take a look at or the showcase itself to see what indie games are out there. But I don't think a lot of these indie games have a lot of legs. So once you play them, you'll enjoy them. And once you've had a little bit of time, you'll basically be done with them. So, but yeah, very much like an indie showcase, which that was kind of shocking too, because generally Jeff Keighley's stuff has the big bangers, the big stuff, the big AAA announcements, whatever. Well, now with having the breakup of these showcases, with every company seeming to have one, at least 2 a year, Jeff Keighley really didn't have too much. And at $250,000 a minute on his show, that would be pretty expensive. No kidding. So ultimately, I gave Summer Game Fest a B-. There was some new stuff there. Again, it was good. It clipped along pretty well. It wasn't full of ads like the Game Awards. But again, there just wasn't much there in the sense of AAA. Next, we got Xbox. Their showcase was a ton of classic IPs coming. Lots of AAA titles along with AA's too, and also some big DLCs. And this one really kept my attention. So, partly probably my bias of just that I have Game Pass, and 19 of the 27 games that I talked about during my showcase spiel, 19 of them are coming to Game Pass. And with having Game Pass, that makes me pretty excited because I'm going to be eating good the next 18, 24 months. And this doesn't include all of the other third-party stuff that's going to come to the service. Which we seem to get something basically every week. Plus, not to mention the stuff that's going to come with EA. We also get some of those games too. Not the day one stuff, but when it's been out long enough, EA bumps them down to their basic EA service, and we get all of those games. And so, yeah, if you're looking for the best bang for your buck, Game Pass is it. That is going to be the thing you're going to be spending a ton of time on. You're going to be getting a ton of games. You're going to be getting South of Midnight. We finally heard about Flintlock. You're going to be getting a new Doom game. You're going to be getting, map expansion DLC for Fallout 76. That's going to be included with Game Pass. We're also getting Shattered Skies, but you will have to buy that one individually. That won't be Game Pass. We're also going to be getting some smaller indie games too, like Still Wakes the Deep, That one's going to be coming out literally in a few days, and I'll be showing that here on the channel when I get to my weekend. And yeah, I'm just excited for what's coming. We get Avowed, we get Black Ops 6. That was the biggest thing that they headed with. And again, that's going to be on Game Pass. And still, during the entire showcase, there was no indication that the price was going up. So still, so far, I'm very surprised. It's $17 a month. And so, do I think eventually the price will go up to $20? Yes, I do. When that's going to take place, I don't know. I'm kind of curious. But yeah, Xbox's showcase, not just because I have an Xbox, but just because of the value that they're bringing to Game Pass, that is their biggest selling point. And I want to iterate, too, that their console, the Xbox itself, is now a peripheral of Game Pass. The whole selling point is Game Pass, and you can either have a PC to engage with it or buy an Xbox. And Game Pass honestly looks really good. If you want to see the best showcase so far this year, we do have Nintendo Direct at the end of the month. I will be talking about that as well. But yeah, your Xbox showcase is by far the best. Next is Ubisoft. So this came out after Xbox. And Ubisoft was mostly DLCs, updates for their games of live service that they already have. So there was 9 major DLCs that are coming out, or updates for games, or new seasons, etc. And then we got a deep dive on Outlaws for gameplay, and the developers talking about the game. And we also got another deep dive for Shadows, which was really nice. In my opinion, I wasn't excited about anything else except for these deep dives. And it was really nice to have them to be a part of the showcase. Because that really bolstered the rating that I gave it. I gave it a C-. Because, yeah, again, they didn't really share very much. Probably the biggest thing they shared was Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, a remake or a reboot. But, again, that's coming in 2026. So we got plenty of time to wait from now to then. But yeah, the deep dives were nice that we got on Outlaws and Shadows. It showed a lot more of the game. It showed a lot more gameplay. These were gameplay filled, which was wonderful. And also breaking down mechanics in the game and how it works and all of that kind of stuff. And we got to see a lot of piece of each game. I'm actually more excited for Outlaws, and I'm actually a little bit less excited for Shadows. But if you're interested on kind of like my overall thoughts, don't forget all of the links are down in the description for the showcases themselves and for my thoughts on each showcase. But yeah, it's getting busy with all of these showcases. That's basically all I had last week. Thank you guys, too, for hanging in there. I know it was a lot of podcasts just like this, but more gameplay will be coming. Don't worry about that. Next, we're going to talk about XDefiant. Season 1 is coming, and we're getting the GSK faction, which is basically Rainbow Six. And we're also going to get 3 free guns. We're going to get 1 new map per month. We also have a new game mode, Team Deathmatch, coming in a couple of weeks. And they're going to be also bringing Search and Destroy probably in the following months. And this is going to be a live service game that is free. And honestly, I really enjoy the mechanics and the way it's designed. It feels fun. That's probably the biggest selling point I have on it, is that it's fun. And not having skill-based matchmaking really helps with that. And it's more focused on playing the objective. Not everyone does at this point yet, but I think over time people will. And the numbers have been pretty strong. It's really quick to get into matches. They've rebalanced some stuff too, like jumping around corners, omnidirectional movement that seemed to have. They fixed some of that. Also, like quick scoping, and when you get hit now while you're sniping, you get some pretty insane flinch. And then also crouching and stuff. There's also some setbacks to that too. So they've been rebalancing some stuff. They're going to continue to rebalance some guns as well. And but the game works well. As a free-to-play game, it works great. It does operate on a smaller budget, so it's not a huge file size. It's only 35 gigs. And I would say at least give it a shot. Give it a try. You're not going to lose very much just for trying, and give it a few hours. One thing, too, that I think really frustrates COD players is that it really doesn't have a lot of aim assist. So if you can't aim and don't want to really focus on improving yourself as a player, you just want something mindless to grind or whatever, then stick with COD. That's okay. That's your thing, and that's what you're going to excel at, and that's great. If you're looking for something that's more challenging, that's going to be more real with your stats and with matches and kind of where you are in the leaderboards they have ranked out now with XDefiant. I think XDefiant's a great game for you. I think you should at least give it a shot, and they're committed to bringing long-term content for this game. So this isn't like it's just going to go be here for a couple of years and then be gone. This is going to be a long-term thing. So minimum like 5 years or maybe 10. Yeah, long term, folks. That's the idea. And if you guys want to play some time, hit me up right here. I'm down to play. We're also going to be getting... another new mode down the road is going to be Capture the Flag, which is great. Again, I really enjoy the game. It is cross-play as well. And so we also have that Discord server, which we have the voice channels in there for cross-platform stuff if you guys need it. And, again, I don't care what games are playing. You don't even have to play with me. Play with others in the channel or play with your friends to get y'all on there and have a place to actually have voice chat, because in-game chat usually sucks regardless what game you're playing on. But yeah, that Discord is in the link in the description. But yeah, within 1 hour, or a couple of hours, XDefiant had already 1 million players, and the servers were pretty messy. And within 2 weeks, they've had over 10 million so far. So they've been accelerating pretty good. It's already been out for, I want to say, 5 weeks now. But yeah, the real question still is, does it have legs? So they are committed to creating content, but, let's see them deliver that for a while and see if they can actually keep up with the pace. And we'll have to see what happens with XDefiant. But yeah, right now, it's for us older folks that enjoyed the older CODs, Black Ops 2 and older, this game is made for us. It really is. It's a blast. Next, we're going to get into a new reboot of Lollipop Chainsaw. Most of you guys have probably never heard of this. This is a game that came out in 2012. It's going to be relaunching on September 25th this year. It's going to be on all current platforms, and it will be a remaster of the zombie game. So if you don't know anything about it, I'd suggest you watch a trailer or something just to get an idea. But the gameplay or kind of the feel is the same as Sunset Overdrive, and I think Sunset Overdrive came out around the same year as Lollipop Chainsaw did. It's another older game. But hey, if you're looking for something to play while you're waiting for something else to come out, this might be worth it to play until COD or something else into next year. So go ahead and take a look and give it a shot. Next, we're going to talk about Black Ops 6. So they're going to be adding some new movement to the game. Now, this is going to be new to Call of Duty. We haven't had this yet. It has been in other games, but not in COD. And this is omnidirectional movement. I think also Battlefield 5 had this, which that was a few years ago. But omnidirectional movement is where you're going to be able to jump, and you're going to be able to kind of rotate or adjust your character during that movement. Which is huge. So you can jump forward as if you're going to land on your belly, and then you can turn your character in midair so that you land on your back and can actually shoot behind you. So that's kind of that omnidirectional movement that you can do in real time while you're in the air. Of course, you can't magically change your direction once you jump, right? Or that omnidirectional movement. You got to pick a direction and stick with it. But I do wonder if that's going to be interesting. It could be actually quite buggy, as this is going to be the first time they're going to implement this. It could also change tactics. We could see some new metas that are just frustrating to deal with as players. But I'm going to showcase Black Ops 6 here on the channel at the end of October. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what'll happen. Are you excited about this? I think it could go both ways. I think it could be better. I think it also could be worse for the game. So we'll have to see. Also, with Black Ops 6, you will need an online connection. Nothing new there. Even with the campaign, due to texture streaming. So again, Black Ops 6 is going to be coming to pretty much all consoles, all platforms, except for Twitch is coming basically to everything else, even the past-gen stuff, as a lot of gamers are still coming from that. But in order to make up the hardware difference that some of those don't have, we're going to have texture streaming through the cloud to be able to bolster those graphics that you see on the TV. And so you need a connection for that. Isn't that great? So to provide the best visuals, that's the idea. And I really think this is made for past gen type of stuff. But just to let you guys know, you will need an online connection. So even for that campaign, because again, it's got texture streaming. Next, for the last thing for Black Ops 6 is the file size. I'm sure you guys have heard it's going to be over 300 gigs. And while in a way that is true, it's not entirely accurate. There's some pieces of information missing. So let's go over this. So Black Ops 6 in and of itself is not going to be 300 gigs. Let me say that again. It is not going to be 300 gigs. What that file size incorporates is Call of Duty HQ, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops 6, and the zombies for everything, and the co-op stuff, and DMZ, and Warzone, and then all of the bundles associated with those games. Keeping up so far? So that's why it's going to be 300 flipping gigs. It's going to be that big. But if during installation you want to choose what you're installing, which you're able to do that manually through your menu, click on the game, you should be able to like manage game or something like that, and add-ons or something. You click on that and basically you can select what you wish. You do have to have Call of Duty HQ. You don't have a choice on that. Right now that's sitting at about 78 gigs. It was 125, so where the other 50 gigs went, I don't know. But it did go somewhere. But you will need HQ, and then you will, of course, need to download the campaign and the multiplayer and the zombies for Black Ops 6, along with all of the other like bundle packs and everything, so that if you do get them, you can just unlock them instead of having to download each one individually. In Warzone, if you play a bunch of that, which most of us probably do on the current gen stuff, Warzone is like 13 gigs total, so that's not going to add a whole bunch. But you don't have to have Modern Warfare 2, you don't have to have Modern Warfare 3. That alone will save you over 100 gigs right there. So probably bank on 200 or less gigs for everything that you're going to need. Otherwise, yeah, if you want everything on there, expect that 300 gigs. Which that brings me into my next thing too. If you have a PlayStation or you have an Xbox, make sure you're upgrading your hard drives, because we still got several years left until the next gen stuff comes out, and maybe not all of us will be able to get a next gen if we want one. And we also don't know the price difference yet. So it might be worth it, even for the next several years, to actually buy and upgrade your hard drives or your SSDs. So just make sure if you're getting one for Xbox, make sure it's a specific Seagate memory card. Those are the 3 words you want to use when you're searching for stuff. Make sure they're legit, because those have special partitions on them. And if those partitions are not there, you're not able to play Series X games directly off of those memory cards. You'd have to transfer it to your internal storage, which also has that partition on it. And if you're in the market too for a console, maybe you're past gen and you're wanting to get a new console for the next COD or something like that, I think that would be the good time to get it. Xbox is coming out with new consoles for the holidays, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some new bundles as well from PlayStation, because PlayStation 5s have had some slowdowns in selling consoles, and so both companies are going to want to sell and compete on Black Friday and Christmas, and so save your money until then and go out shopping and grab one if you can. Let's see. Moving on. Life is Strange Double Exposure. Now, this is a game that we got during one of the showcases. This was during the Xbox showcase, and it's got some crazy monetization. I have not heard of this before, and it's actually quite wild. Now, Life is Strange maybe isn't for everybody, but it still has 23 million people that have played Life is Strange, and the main character is coming back. If you've been following the story, it's Maxine. Maxine is coming back. She's going to be a main character, protagonist of Double Exposure. Excuse me. And 2, it's kind of a fun, laid-back game. If you're looking something again to play while you're waiting for other stuff to come out, this might be one that's fun. Base price is $50. Not bad, okay? Right? Not bad. But there are different editions of the game, and the largest is going to be $80 for 2 weeks early access. That is 14 extra days early access. Otherwise, for the rest of us suckers that don't pay an extra $30 on top of the base game, we're going to have to be waiting 2 weeks to play the game. Now, what do you get with this? You get episode 1 and you get episode 2. And that's a fair amount of content right there. So that means it's already finished, it's already done. But this is really bothersome to me because I already don't like the way early access has gone. Early access used to mean, hey, it's kind of like a beta, right? It's an open beta for people to play. You can pay a discount like what Grounded did, right? And also Baldur's Gate 3 for 3 years. So these early accesses, they can last for a long time. And the company can also get, and the devs can get a lot of data for free, basically, and tweak their game and improve their game, and that's why Grounded and Baldur's Gate 3 turned out to be pretty dang good because of the early access stuff. But the thing that is absolutely wild is just 2 weeks early for $30. Now, it's not the price tag that I'm worried about, it's the fact that they're, quote, putting access behind a paywall now. This isn't just a couple of days or 3 days or even 5 days, which is getting a little janky there. That's almost a whole week. But 2 weeks? 14 days? That is flippin' insane. And early access is starting to change. Now, of course, these companies are trying to find ever creative ways to get more money out of us because they can't make enough, and I do believe this. Most companies cannot make enough money with the sales that they get to have the game just be $70. They need monetization. They need microtransactions, seasons, okay, subscription services like what Rainbow Six is doing, which is stupid. Rainbow Six Siege is having a subscription service. Minecraft as well is having a subscription service at $4 a month. There's also, Realms you can pay for. Call of Duty always has a freaking season pass you can pay for every 6 weeks, along with plenty of other games like XDefiant and Overwatch 2, etc. Or stupid Horse Armor at $60 for Diablo 4. It's rampant, folks, right? It's rampant on what they're trying to get us to pay for. When really most of this stuff is pretty damn worthless. But now we're getting to a point where it's like, okay, you're paying to play the game early. Now, again, if it's a few days, whatever. It ain't for me. But, this trend really got solidified, in my opinion, with Starfield when 2 million people just on Steam paid $100 to have early access for 5 days. At $6 a day. That's what they were paying. And a lot of people did it. 2 million just on Steam, not including the, Xbox and stuff. That's a lot of people. That's a ton of extra money that Bethesda made. And I think that really solidified it. But now we're paying, $30 for an extra 2 weeks. And this gets to a point where it's not early access anymore. It's like timed exclusivity, right? It's like a timed exclusive. Instead of, a difference in time between release dates between consoles, it's now between your pocketbook or your wallet versus poor people. Or people that maybe don't want to pay and support that, like myself. Which I'm both. I'm poor. But yeah, I think it's unreal. It's like we're getting to timed exclusives now. And they're using it as a paywall. And that's really disgusting. That is really disgusting. This is done by Square Enix. We know that personally, they've had some underperforming stuff. And they had really bad sales. They had like a 97% change in revenue last year or last quarter. They also had underperforming games. They've had underperforming games, including their Final Fantasy stuff. It's just not selling as much as they would like. All the way back to Final Fantasy 15 or 16 or whatever freaking number we're on now, folks. Correct me in the comments. Personally, I don't like it either way, but we're starting to pay for earlier release dates than while everyone else is forced to wait. And I really don't like this type of monetization. It's kind of like pay to win. It feels cheap. It feels bad. Like I just want to scrub myself and just have a cleansing ritual over my game console. Like this does not feel good. It doesn't benefit any of the players at all. And we get into new problems with this. We get into spoiler issues. Maybe some of us would actually like to keep the secrets, right, until we play it ourselves and enjoy that experience and not have it ruined with spoilers. That is a pretty big thing in the community. But now with 2 weeks, we're going to see shorts, we're going to see reviews, and we're going to see initial looks, we're going to see, what people thought about stuff, we're going to see ads for stuff, and maybe we're going to see things we don't really want to see. And you got to wait 2 weeks now? Holy frick, that's getting ridiculous. There's also a problem, too, with all of this early access stuff. There's issues with quality of the game and the servers with the game. A great example was Diablo 4 when people paid early access. The split-screen multiplayer didn't work, and neither did the flippin' servers. And so people paid that extra money for what? Nothing. Just to burn 2 whole days. Did they get refunds? No. Of course they didn't. That money was just taken and gone. So it is a ripoff, folks. You are going to get literally the worst version of the game as soon as it launches, and you're paying the highest price for it. And that doesn't sound very intelligent, does it? It's really not, if I can be totally honest with you. And now we're getting to a point where it's like, 2 weeks early. That just sounds insane to me. So again, it's not for me. If it's up for you, if you got that extra money, fine. But if we support this type of early access, I already didn't like it when it was 5 days early. And now it's getting longer, and more companies will continue to follow suit unless we say no. So say no with your pocketbooks, folks. We want to help these companies understand that we come first. And that we want them to be honest with us. We don't want to feel like we're being scammed. Okay? We just want to enjoy games. We want them to be fun. But this kind of stuff, it feels scummy. It really does. So, it's also showing that $70 for a game or $50 for a game is not enough. We even saw that with Hellblade, right? Number 1 was $30. Number 2 was $50 for less gameplay. Like, we got a smaller game. There also wasn't a lot of innovation either in the gameplay, in the combat mechanics, or anything like that. And I plan on showing both of these channels, both of these games on the channel in the future. But yeah, we're getting to a point where it's like companies, they are struggling. And I think for Square Enix, to be fair, I think this is more of a desperate move for them. It's not them being dicks. It's that the fact that they actually need money. Because they haven't been making a lot, they haven't been making as much, and then when they see a 97% revenue drop and stuff, that is flipping Armageddon. That is nuclear. They already came out and said, look, we're going to aggressively change practices here with exclusives, and we're not going to have console exclusives anymore. That's over with. And so PlayStation's going to burn a little bit because of that. They're going to lose some revenue on that, and they're going to lose more exclusivity, which has been keeping their console going, in my opinion. And so they're losing some of that. But yeah, Square Enix, it's showing that they have to make this money. Now, if you want to support them for that reason, hey, go ahead. I want there to be competition. I want Square Enix to continue to be making games because I've enjoyed some of the IPs that they have. But I still feel like $80 for 2 weeks early is just scummy. So what do you guys think in the comments? I probably rambled on enough for that one. So next, we're going to talk about Dark and Darker. Now, this was a game that came out on PC. There was some talk about some code being stolen or whatever. The small developer has been in legal battles with stuff, and I think they're finally done with those legal battles, but I'm sure they're not out of debt from them. They dealt with this for quite some time. So they were finally able to get this back on Steam, and within 4 days, it's already having a major issue. So technically, they do have a free-to-play version or free-to-play business model, and this is like a PvP, PvE type of game. You can encounter other players in these dungeons in Dark and Darker, with magic and swords and whatever, but you can also encounter plenty of other NPCs as well as you're exploring. And the loot that you collect, you get to, if you can make it out of there, you get to take it home with you, which is great, right? It's kind of like a extraction shooter in a way, with some twists on it. But the problem is that people are discovering if they have the free-to-play version, they can't actually keep any of the loot or use it. It just kind of sits there, and that's a problem. And so it was a little misleading. They thought this was a good idea because they were working through some of the other issues that they had because they already had this on Steam. They don't want to screw over the players that already have played Dark and Darker, so this was more for them. To be able to just kind of jump back into the game and progress and continue on with where they left off, including with their loot. But this doesn't help new players, and so the new players are getting pissed, and the reviews aren't looking very good on Steam, and so they have addressed this. They are working on this. They are going to work on changing some things. They realized this was a mistake. It's actually very nice they came out publicly and said that. So they're working on fixing it. But I just feel bad for the devs because they've been just ridden raw on just trying to just make this game, and I just feel bad for them. So they're currently working on it. Hopefully they're over the hump and they can just finally have a smooth launch, let people enjoy the game. And if you're a Dragon and Dungeons crawler guy, you might actually enjoy this game. So far this is only on PC, just to let you guys know. Lastly, we're going to talk about Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. This is for Elden Ring. This is coming out June 21st. It's literally almost here, folks. I'm so excited. But you got to make sure of something. In order to access, you have to make sure Radon and Moog are dead. And Moog is one of the toughest mother hubbards in the flippin' game. It was the last boss I think Lion and I killed. And he is flippin' brutal, folks. He is tough. Get as many people in as you can. Get a mage. Get another guy that can be a tank and strong arm a little bit and keep Moog distracted. And hopefully you can stay alive while all of this is going on because his area of effects are ridiculous and powerful. But yeah, you do have to beat Radon and you do have to beat Moog. And then in order to access the DLC, all you have to do is go to the back of the arena where Moog is and touch the withered arm coming out of the cocoon, and you'll be able to access the DLC. So we'll show that right here on the channel, folks. We'll be excited. Now, caveat with that, I'm going to play some hours, and I'm not going to go too far because I'm going to wait for Lion to be able to start playing as well, and we'll get him caught up, and then Lion and I will play together starting in July. So probably maybe a little before July 4th, Independence Day in the United States. We'll have to see. We'll keep you guys updated, but we are going to play through the entire DLC, not just for your enjoyment, but also for ours, and we're excited to show this to you. So that's gaming news for this week, folks. Thanks for tuning in, as always. Don't forget to like and sub. That's always something you can do for us. That is minimal time and free. It does help out the channel to promote and get it out to other players, but also share too if you enjoy the content. And if you enjoy news or you enjoyed other podcasts, there are some other things out there for you to listen to, but there's also gameplay stuff too. There's actually a lot on the channel. There's over like 700 videos now. Some of those, of course, are shorts, but there are hundreds of videos for you to listen to while you're doing chores or going through work or whatever, or just to watch to be entertained with some gameplay. So with that, folks, hopefully you guys are doing well. And remember, you guys have a vote with the money that you spend. Be sure to spend it wisely in the gaming industry. And with that, I'll see you guys on the next one.